Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. This album review is on Concrete Blonde's 1990 album called Bloodletting. This was their third album. I'm a little embarrassed that I don't have any Concrete Blonde um, main albums on CD or vinyl. Probably an opportunity. I've been a fan of theirs since I first heard this album back in 1990. My brother used to have I guess it was probably a cassette then, and over the years I got a chance to really like them, especially their two albums after this, Walking in London and then also Mexican Moon. And I really enjoyed their music. I do have a couple of their compilations, greatest hits, but I don't have any other albums. But it's definitely on my want list to eventually get all their first five albums. I really enjoy. This is their second time on the channel. I did review their 1989 album called Free. Um, I want to say I gave it a good score of like a 60 or 62 or something like that, somewhere around there, if I'm not mistaken. But it could have been in the high 50s. I think it's a pretty good to a good album. Not necessarily one of their. If I was to rank their top five off the top of my head of their five albums, that album's probably fourth. Bloodletting is one of their strongest, so I'm not surprised that I go into it with saying, going to rating their albums with saying that. I have really good memories of this album, especially when it came out. Obviously, Joey was played a lot on the radio, and that was a really good album. But I think this is really an underrated album, and I always feel like Concrete Blonde is such an underrated album, underrated band. It's interesting that I reviewed the motels in this band. I was talking on that video a little bit about the change in the late '70s and early '80s with women being lead singers in rock bands. You think of like Hard and Pat Benatar and Pretenders and the Motels. Concrete Blonde was really strong in that too, or even L7 or Garbage or all those bands. You know what I mean? But I think Concrete Blonde was one of the strongest in the late '80s and early '90s, and probably should have got a lot more attention than just uh, being considered a one-hit wonder because they have so much more than that. Um, this album is kind of them at their creative peak, I would say. They're always a pretty tight band, and they do all kinds of good, strong rock songs. And they almost have like I wouldn't say a southern rock band because when you say southern rock band, you might think of like the Bayou or Creedence Clearwater or you know I wouldn't say um, Leonard Skinner. Something those are kind of bands when you think of like southern rock, like maybe Allman Brothers or something like that. But this is more like Texas, Mexico rock. It kind of has like a San Antonio sort of sound to it, a Mexican sound. It's a little bit more towards uh, sort of the cowboy side than really the down the bayou kind of sound, if that makes sense. I don't even know how to really describe Concrete Blonde accurately, even when you say southern rock sound, because they kind of sound like if you know them well, then you know what I'm talking about. Like with like the tracks Texas Ladies Man or there's quite a few of them, but the Mexican Moon is another one. But they sort of have like I don't know, like because they're LA and LA has a lot of Hispanic people, and I don't think she's necessarily related to Hispanic, but it's just they have this like jangly kind of uh, soulful in a way too, but it just kind of sounds like I wouldn't say like if a mariachi band became a hard rock band, but there's a little bit of sort of that style in there, that mariachi kind of feel. A good balance of acoustic guitars and hard rock as well. And when they do a good amount of solos. and they're always like really strong solos. They're never like super over the top. They just kind of strong southern kind of uh, yeah, kind of solos. They do really strong. Um, there's some really good songs on here. Obviously, Joey is a really strong one, but Tomorrow, Wendy, Caroline's probably my favorite. Also, Bloodletting's really strong in here. The vampire song. Those are four super strong tracks. Those are probably my four favorite. Jeanette's voice is so powerful. She's such a kick-ass singer. She's soulful too. She's just a great performer. It's just her in general being herself too. It's nothing. She's not trying to be anything. She's not like she's just who she is, and it really comes through in her music, and it's varied too. It's she can do a lot of different style songs really well. The guitars are really strong for hard rock, and there's a good balance of riffs in here too. Like Caroline, for example. There's also a good balance of like effects and rawness and acoustic, like the sky is. Um, the sky is a poisonous garden, that track too, and also some cool sounds like tomorrow's windy, and I don't need a hero. Really cool guitar sounds on there. Bass is strong too, like in Bloodletting and I Don't Need a Hero, Darkening of the Light. In many ways, the bass line makes those tracks, as far as like even more so than the guitars. Solid drumming for sure in this. Kind of has like a jamboree type, again, Mexican uh, um, mariachi band sort of drumming like that, right? A lot of like hollow tom sounding, wouldn't say military, but you know what I mean, like drumming like that. Kind of has a lot of that sounds. There's really nothing I can think as far as the opportunity of anything negative or constructive on this album. I think it's a really good sounding album as well. Very well produced, very well mixed. Levels are really good. Um, when I go over the tracks, the first tracks, Bloodletting, 3.25 stars. The Sky is a Poisonous Garden, 3 stars. Caroline, 4 stars, amazing track. Darkening of the Light, 2.5 stars. I Don't Need a Hero, 3.25 stars. Days and Days, 2 stars. The Beast, 2.5 stars. Lullaby, 2.25 stars. And then it ends really strong. Joey, 3.75 stars. Really close to getting it 4, but Tomorrow Windy, 4 stars. I love the way the album ends. Just such a great song to end on. And so that's 31 stars divided by 10 is a 3.1, which puts it around 72. I gave it a couple extra points for just the overall sound of this album and how well mixed and produced this is, and what a strong sounding album is. I think a different order of the songs probably would have been a little bit better. I do like how it ends and how it the very ending and the very beginning song, but I feel like some of the middle could be a little bit different, especially tracks 4 through 9. I feel like it could be a little bit different order, but that's just a personal thing. But yeah, 74 out of 100. I think it's a very good album. Probably one of their best. Probably is their best. And in some ways, I think it's perhaps one of the best female-led rock albums of the 90s. I mean, I I mean, I said it all with that. Just that one note. I mean, what's a more powerful rock album than this from a female-led band in the 90s? I can't think of very many that are. Concrete Blonde, Bloodletting, awesome album. 74 out of 100. All right, thanks so much. Oh, I'm curious to hear what's your favorite Concrete Blonde album?